Greetings, programs, and welcome to day 5 of Primetime Part 2, and welcome back to the old kitchen table, because I had to move my setup for these next two guys. Just a little too big and a little too awkward on my desk. So, today, we're going to take a look at one of the probably more divisive Optimus Prime figures, and it's actually the Titans Return Voyager class Optimus Prime. And as you can see, we're starting off in his third mode. I'm starting in the third mode because of these. These wing joints are a pain. There's no good way to remember how they work, so it's better if I start him off here. So as you can see, he turns into a jet for his third mode. And it's actually a pretty decent jet. I'm sure anyone who knows Transformers decently is looking at this and going, that's Octane's jet mode. Yes. This was from a weird time in Hasbro where they took all the triple changers and they turned a bunch of them into more known characters. So we got, Optimus became Octane, Megatron became Blitzwing, and then they turned around like 6 months later and gave us Blitzwing and Octane figures using the exact same molds. But neither here nor there, really, because we are just looking at the Optimus version here. And I gotta say, I'm a fan of its look. The stickers are peeling pretty bad on mine. Titans Return and Power of the Prime both had that problem with just these horrible factory put-on stickers that peeled right off if you didn't immediately try to clear coat them. There are stickers for each window as well. They, again, I like, these ones work. I do even like the colors that they used on them. For this being like the secondary alt mode, it actually doesn't do too bad of a job. Yeah, the truck cab parts are pretty obvious right there, but if you squint, you can make yourself think it's just engines or something. It works. All the wheels are still down here, still usable as landing gear. Though I would think you'd need something up here as well, but what do I know? Now, really quick, before we get into transforming this guy, we're going to check out his accessories. First, he's just got this simple, twin cannon blaster, which, like with most Titans Return Titans Return weapons, also has a little seat in it for the Titan Master. Speaking of which, here is his Titan Master. Just, basically turns into Optimus Prime's head. And his name is Dyak. For anyone who doesn't know, the original Transformers figures from the 80s were mostly imported Japanese toys. Optimus Prime was from a Japanese toy line called Diaclone. So now you know where Dyak got his name. And he also comes with this sword. For some reason, especially when this figure came out, everyone was obsessed and freaking out about the pea-colored sword. To me, this just looks like the Star Saber. Star Saber was yellow at some point, because I think that sword, changed to look at, a reflection of whoever was wielding it. And so, to me, this is just the Star Saber again. And knowing Optimus figures, this probably is supposed to be the Star Saber. Optimus can't have a sword without it being the Star Saber. So, for weapon storage, you do just have these two pegs right here on the side. They kind of work, though you're going to have a very weird looking jet mode with you know, a sword and a gun coming off the front of it. But in some actually kind of clever engineering, right here on top of the cockpit, there's these two little tabs sticking up. Right here, it is I really don't know what to call that actually, but those will hold on to those little tabs. So you can actually store the gun up there, and then you can use the side peg of the sword, put it on there. It's still not great, but it looks a lot better than sticking everything on the side. So, get this off. And, obviously, you can put Diac in here. The cool thing about this is actually, it's got the little spot that holds the foot tab on either side. Since, when he's a jet, he needs to look that way. But when you put this into truck mode, he needs to look that way. So they did actually make it so you can set him in there either way, which is a nice touch. I'm not putting him in there because I'll probably forget that he's in there when I need him later. So, I'm going to go ahead and get this thing into truck mode now. The first thing you're going to want to do is fold up these, fold up the back fins. Then this piece is on a, like a boom. So you're going to actually come down here, pull it out. You don't need to pull it till it locks, because you're actually going to push it back down. But you're going to take this panel, fold it down, get it out of the way. Try to keep those put away. You're going to just take this, bring it down so it sits like that, you know, kind of even with the top. Come over here, flip the sides of the truck cab around. And as you can see, this all just comes down and sits in this gap. So there's a, you know, there's a hollowed out spot right here that these wings, or the tail fins and everything set in. Sometimes it can fight you when it's time to actually close it up. Things like to not sit in the right spot. This is a very fiddly figure. That is a definite, you know, points away from Gryffindor, I have to admit. Things don't like to line up on him, and when things don't line up, there's no transforming his butt. Come on. Okay, and if you've got everything in the right spot, you'll eventually be able to close up this front of the cab. Give me a second. Okay, finally got it all in. This piece is going to sit up a little bit weird. It is very exact with where things have to position for this to close. One definite kind of drawback. This piece, it doesn't have any guidance. So literally you just have to sit there and fuss. But once you finally get it in there, go ahead, take this panel, fold it up flat along the bottom right there. Move these wings just up and out of the way as best you can. Then we're going to split the whole bottom half of the jet. Oh, before we do that though, there's these two panels right here. We need to bring these down on their double hinge, get them out of the way. This one, you actually have to untab in two places, so be aware of that. I did almost break this one time by just trying to force it sideways. But do that. Then, split the whole back of the truck. You're going to take the cockpit halves, rotate them around, specifically that way, because there is a little piece that they're hooked onto right there. So, rotate them out. Then fold them up inside, and go ahead and spin the wheels around as well while you're here. And wheels. Now, funny enough, the wheels on this side they'll actually like lock into position. The ones on this side don't. They just like to spin wildly. So you will see me fighting with that. You will see me fighting with a lot of things in this video. Then you're going to take the wings here and fold them down and in. And here's where we get to a very interesting bit of messed up engineering. It's not quality control. This is actually the engineering having a problem. All three versions of this figure have this problem. These tabs on the inside of the wings, they don't tab into anything. They're never used in any of the modes. And they sit directly across from each other so that you can't get the wings like properly pressed together unless you offset them slightly, which messes up the trailer transformation. I have no idea what happened here, but it's something that shouldn't have happened. But just kind of make it work. Shove them in there as best you can. We're going to take these panels, bring them back up. That one, again, 2 spots it tabs in. Just the one spot on here. And try to get everything to close up. So, as you can see, yeah, the wings are fighting for space here. And the wheels are angled outwards slightly because of it. But that aside, here you have Optimus in his truck mode. And, you know, I like this truck mode for Optimus. It is actually nice to get just a different kind of truck. Even if it is basically just Octane. Though, the thing you have to remember is, I can't remember when it came out, but there was a version of Optimus where he was actually this kind of truck with, you know, a tanker. So it's not like the Octane repaint came out of nowhere. You know, there was a precedent set for this thing. So, as you can see, blue actually painted windows this time. Doesn't like to sit together that well, but it's there. The smokestacks are a little weird because, yeah, they actually switch color as they go up. But you get, you know, a little more visible sticker. See that going all the way down. Overall, it looks decent enough, you know. I don't have anything to really complain about there. It looks pretty decent. I just wish it held together a little bit better and a little bit more cleanly. So, obviously, if you want, you can still take these, plug them on here on the top of the truck. Doesn't look too bad, you know, if you have to store your weapons on this guy. Though, this was a pretty widespread just tolerance issue, where I've seen a lot of people look at this figure. The second they put this thing on here, it just pings off into oblivion. I'm lucky in that mine actually holds. But now we're going to get to the important part, and we're actually going to get this guy into his robot mode. So, I'm going to start down here at the legs. Going to go ahead, open these panels up yet again. This time, just fold them down all the way. They don't really lock in anywhere, they just kind of sit there, but they do a good job of sitting there. Bring them down. Then you're going to take these wheel sections, or split the legs, then take these little wheel sections, swing them back out, just so that you get the clearance to open up the foot. Then swing them back down like that. So bring it out. And you want to push right here, since that'll do most of the foot for you. A lot easier than trying to dig the foot out of that spot. Then you're going to bring up the wings, and here's where his transformation gets annoying. Because there's a very, very particular way that you have to get these wings folded up on his back. Right now, yeah, I had everything in the right position to do this, quickly and simply. I can't tell you how many times I'd have him in a different mode, and that meant that I had the wings in a different starting position, and trying to get them from where they were to here was a nightmare. These wings are annoying to deal with, and I know that for a lot of people these wings were actually a deal breaker with the transformation, and I can understand that. Even though I got it easy here, I still understand hating these wings that much. Anyway, you're going to go ahead, and his hips are actually there in a little track, so you're going to slide them forward all the way. Interesting enough, there is a stopping point in the middle there. I don't know why. They have to come from one end to the other. Maybe that just makes them hold in better. Also, be noted, I have very, very loose hips. So, this thing will be struggling to stand for this video. Anyway, come up here, take this panel, fold it down, take the front of the truck cab, split it in half, bring it down like it was in the jet mode. Take this, gonna pull it not just out, but upward, and eventually it'll click into place. Fold the wings back out, and then even split the main tail fin and fold it out. And that will come back here and just hold these in place. Nothing tabs in. Like, you'd think that the tabs on this would come into play now. No, it's still just tension from these holding it in place. It's dumb. But you're going to come over here and... oh, I have to move these out of the way. You want to take the windshield section, rotate it until it stands straight up on the shoulder, then rotate it around, then come here, turn the front, bring out the hand, lock it in place. These just decide that they don't want to peg down in. There we go. You come out later. But same thing over here. Fold this up, rotate it around, twist the arm, bring out the hand. So push these back up, hopefully for the final time. Fold this down to hold them in place. And the robot body is finally all done. If it will stand. Like I said, this thing has trouble with that. So, then we'll go ahead and we'll take a little diac here. Just fold him down. Turns into Optimus's face. And pop him in there. And now we push this button, pop these pieces up that will give him like the little antenna on the sides of his helmet. And there you've got your robot mode. And it looks really good. You know, if I wasn't having this hip issue on mine, that I genuinely don't know how I'm supposed to fix, this guy would be absolutely fantastic. You know, the fiddly transformations and stuff are kind of made up for once you get him into his truck mode. So, I'll bring him in here so you can see he has a lot of molded detail going on everywhere. A little bit of gold right there in the middle of his chest even. The button for his, antenna is, a molded grill. It's a fake grill, but hey, at least he has a grill. He's got these little slightly goldish knee pads. Overall, it's actually it's a fairly clean transformation. You know, if you want, you can even fold the wings out and, hey, it's movie Optimus. He's got a jetpack. There's a thruster and everything to give him a jetpack. So, you can even do that if you want. Now, posability-wise, the arms technically can rotate full 360, but this and this, it's going to get in the way and definitely end up hampering how much motion you can get out. Arms can move out all the way. Bicep swivel, not quite 90 degrees at the elbow. Then nothing really at the hand, except for, folding it back in, like is so often the case here. Nothing at the waist, which I can understand with how all this works. And yes, unlike some of the other times I've said that, there truly is nothing going on at the waist here. Legs can kick forward that far. You can kick back that far. You can do the full splits. Thigh rotation. 90 degrees of bend at the knee. And you can bend the toes up and down a little bit. So, as long as you find one with, the joints tight so it can stand, this is a good figure. So, gonna go ahead, give him his gun, and the assumed Star Saber. Oh, and something to mention. Yes, if you have these down, he has the usual, headmaster, Titan Master head articulation with the ball joint. But a lot of the Voyager figures had these little pieces that came up on the sides of the head. And so this whole thing is actually on a turntable so that he still can have some side-to-side head movement. It's not a lot of movement, but it's there if you want it. And if not, you can always just put those away and use the ball joint so you can move the head further. So, you've got some options there. That's the thing with this guy. There's a lot of options on how you do things. And if you find an option you like, you'll probably have a good time. You just don't want to have to go through that transformation. Because, again, it's fiddly. A lot of stuff doesn't like to stay pegged together. And what's going on with those wings? Overall, though, still decent figure. If you find him cheap, or especially if you can find the G2 Laser Optimus repaint of this, still probably worth picking up. So, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.